Because when you started, did you have any expectations for this band and for the first record? Because, like you say, it was the fastest selling debut album.
Yeah, I mean, we did. We had. I mean, I think I look back now; they were pretty modest expectations. You know, they were. We wanted to play. We wanted to sell 20,000 records, and we wanted to open the one Slayer show at the Henry J. Kaiser. And if we could do that, like, we were the kings. You know, like 20,000 records, the opening slot of the Slayer show at the Henry J. Kaiser in Oakland, and we ended up selling 500,000 records. And we ended up getting the whole European tour with Slayer and the whole North American tour with Slayer, and we got that Henry J. Kaiser show in Oakland, and it was a huge moment for us, man. We were like, holy fuck, like, it was insane.
And from there on, it just kept growing, I suppose, for you,
yeah,
in your experience.
I mean, at that point, I had been playing in bands for a decade, you know what I mean? Like, I was in bands when I was 16 years old. I was on tour when I was 19 years old, and I, you know, I think it just became so ingrained into what my life was that, you know, here I am. I'm 50 now. You know, we're on our 9th album, and I'm pathetically unqualified to do anything else. This is it, and that's fine. You know, like, this is what I do, and this is all I know, really.
Is your experience and the way, like, yeah, your experience, the way you feel the music, is that the same as when you started out, or has it changed over the years? Or experience?
My music, or just music in general?
Your own music, and then, or maybe how you approach it, but then also how you approach touring and that kind of stuff. Yeah, do you get the same sense of joy when you go on stage?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like, it's the best high ever. You know, I don't know if I approach it the same way, or if I feel, I mean, I feel it the same way, for sure. I feel it the same way. You know, like, music, when it affects me, like, it's powerful, man. Music is fucking powerful. And, you know, when it comes to how I write, when it comes to how Machine Head creates, like, you know, I'm never going to write another Burn My Eyes again. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I'm never going to be 24 and selling drugs and, right, you know, living this crazy life in the streets. And I can't go back there. You know, like, I can't, you know, like, I'm never going to be that dude. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's fine. Like, I'm a different person, and so I write from that different place now. You know, I write from where I am now and how I feel now and my view on the world now, and that is different. You know, it's different. I've changed. I've grown, and I think that our fans have changed and grown with us. And, you know, we've probably lost some along the way, just like every band loses some fans along the way. But we've gained a lot more on the way. And, you know, when I look at music, I just think to myself, like, you know, because a lot of people go, oh, come on, write another song like Burn, you know, or album like Burn My Eyes, and I'm like, how phony would it be for me to pretend I'm 24 years old again? Like, I can't fucking do that, you know, like, it would be so stupid. Right. You know, it'd probably be the most corny shit ever. So, you know, just do my thing and just do our thing, and, you know, I'm an artist, and I hope people just follow me down whatever rabbit hole I don't, and if they don't, that's cool.
So with that in mind, when did the process for Catharsis start up?
Last September.
What was your, again, mindset at that point? Because, like you say, what you experience influences the art you make. So what was kind of the feeling or the mindset when you started writing?
I don't think there's ever a mindset. Okay. I don't think, you know, we just start writing. You just start writing, and you write, and you just start a journey. And that's what it is. It's a journey. Like, you don't have no idea where you're going to end up at the end of a record. Even if you sit there and talk about it and go, all right, we're going to write like this, and it never ends up like that. And for us, the first 2 songs that we wrote were 4 minutes long. Just short and sweet and easy and heavy, and I was like, this is fucking great. And, you know, I think in some ways, just those 2 songs setting the precedent, Screaming at the Sun and Beyond the Pale, okay, it really became about, okay, let's really simplify ideas here. You know, let's really streamline the ideas. Like with my lyrics, I really wanted to get like, you know, simplify my patterns, simplify my cadences, simplify the ideas to like just the most simplest, easiest idea to put it in. And not that I haven't done that in the past, but you know, some songs were really easy. Some songs took 7 months to get to that point where I could, you know, really crystal clear say, this is what that song is about, and this is why it connects to each other. And when it was all said and done, like, I'm really proud of this record, man. I'm really proud of this record.
I'd like to talk about the song Bastards then, because for me that at least it felt like somewhat of a central song, because it kind of sums up a lot of what you are discussing in the song, on the album. So where did that particular track come from?
So that song is based off of a conversation that I had with my sons the day after the election in America. And my sons had kind of, they'd kind of heard about, you know, the white power stuff Dada had gone through, but, you know, we kept it away from them for the most part. But, you know, they were, you know, legitimately freaked out after the election, and my wife and I had to have a conversation with them right before school that was a really difficult conversation, and that's, you know, the opening line of that song. Yesterday I told my sons, sometimes the bad guys win. And, you know, I wrote that song, I wrote the lyrics the next day, and I started just kind of messing around with it on my acoustic guitar. And, you know, at the end of the day, that song is just a really simple folk song. It's 4 chords that have been played a million times throughout the last 100 years or so. And I just, you know, it's still the best way to tell a story. And that's what that song became. It just became a story. And I recorded it a few days later and stuck it up on YouTube. And at that point, I thought that was the end of it. I thought that, you know, I got it out, move on. You know, it was very early in the writing process. So, but then the more I kept on writing and the more the record kept on going, we got to that track, Eulogy, about 6 months later. And when I wrote the chorus for that, and I realized that it was the same notes as in Bastards, but it was totally different place, so I didn't realize that it was the same note because it was a totally different key. And I was like, wow, that's Bastards again. I was like, that's pretty cool. Like maybe there could be this tie, and just slowly like the theme of Bastards, and just, you know, that idea of empowerment. And, you know, Machine Head's had many empowering songs, Imperium, 10 Ton Hammer, but, you know, the idea of, you know, stand your ground, don't let the bastards grind you down, be bold, be strange, don't let their fears make you afraid. You know, that was a really powerful sentiment, and that sentiment kept popping up in other songs. And in a weird way, it kind of became the centerpiece of the album, and the album became, you know, to me, every record's a movie, you know, and this record, more maybe than any other album we've done, is very cinematic. And, you know, I've mentioned it to our fans many times, you know, I know that song's way out of our wheelhouse. You know, it's definitely not your typical Machine Head song, and I realize that, and that's cool. You know, I've told my fans a bunch of times, lower your expectations for the heaviness. This is not us at our most thrashing, most heavy. This is, you know, it's a very melodic, very grooving record. And, you know, I want to say that early on as many times as possible, because I think it's really easy to just kind of go into, it's fucking so heavy, it's so brutal. And it's not, in that case with this album, it wouldn't be honest to say that. It's a heavy record. It's a fucking, I'm really, really proud of this record, but it's not The Blackening. It's not the heaviest thing we've ever done. Is it the best thing we've ever done? Man, it's got some of the best songwriting of our career. And to me, that's really important and something that we're all really proud of.
Final question then, because, well, I should say that there's a certain pop sensibility to that track as well. And I read somewhere that you said Machine had never had a radio. Do you think this could be played on the radio?
I don't know. Does anybody even listen to the radio anymore? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't listen to the radio. You know, like, who the fuck's gonna wait to be spoon-fed some track on the radio? Gotta wait, like, you know, we're such an on-demand society. You know what I mean? Like, I can just pull it up on my Spotify. Like, why would I wait for the radio. You know, look, to me, it's just it's a great song. And there is, you know, you're right, there is a lot of pop sensibility on this album. And, you know, we've always had that to some degree. You know, I consider Machine Head pretty much just a mainstream metal band. You know, like, I don't feel like we're some underground fucking, you know, there's bands that are 1,000 times heavier than we are now. And, but it's just some great songwriting. And to me, like I talked about the Beatles earlier, like when I think of pop, like that's the Beatles to me. You know, it always goes back to that. And, you know, Jared and I are doing vocal harmonies, and they're John and Paul. They're 50-50. It's not me with an accent. It's even, because that's what I grew up on, that Beatles type of harmony. And so, yeah, there's definitely some of that. Probably more than there's been on any other record.
All right. Rob, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome, man.
Thank you.